falling. Shitty little tripod. Oh my god, this is not gonna work. There you go. Hey guys, what's up? It's me again. I am here today to share some feelings and vent about my weekend at work. But I just wanted to quickly share with you guys my crazy weekend at work, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this. I feel like it's interesting. I love hearing about people's crazy stories, like crazy work stories. So definitely leave your craziest work experience in the comments because I would love to read them. I find it so interesting. But yes, I just wanted to quickly talk to you guys. Actually, you know what? The goal of this was to vent because I got home and I was so exhausted and I was so not frustrated because I had a good day, but I was so like on edge and just, I don't know, like annoyed. And so yeah, I just wanted to vent and tell you guys about my weekend. So basically on Saturday, I'm going to talk more about Sunday, but on Saturday we were short staffed. So I had 7 patients on a day shift, which is crazy, and I had 2 heavy patients. So needless to say, it was crazy. And then Sunday, I got to work earlier. I got my report early. I prepared all my meds before I even went in and did my vital signs. I left them in all the little boxes. Like I obviously go check, make sure everyone's okay, they're breathing, they're alive. And then this is a new thing that I've been doing. I prep all my meds. Like they come in like little strips, and you just like tear them apart. And I prep them all before I go in. If I go do my vital signs and then I do meds, it can take me like an hour and a half to do meds. So I just go to the med cart, prep all my meds, leave them in every patient's little like cubby or whatever, like drawer. And then once breakfast comes, I just go and distribute them, and I make changes depending on their vital signs or their status or whatever. So I did that. I was on top. I finished that at like 7:45. Go in, start doing my vital signs. Everything's good. And I had this one, not like a heavy patient. He wasn't necessarily unstable, but kind of. So he was this elderly gentleman that came in with an aspiration pneumonia, and he became septic from that. So they started the sepsis protocol at the end of the week, and so he was on fluids. I think he was on D5 at 100 or something, or 150. And so he was getting all this fluid, and he did have CHF. And so on Saturday, they had changed his fluids, and they had stopped the fluids, and they had, basically he was also on oxygen. He was on a 50% mask, so 50%, like, you know, the Venturi mask with the little insertions that you put. He was on 50% mask on Saturday. Sunday I came in, he was on a 50% mask, but he was at 98% humidity. So it's basically the max that you can give with that mask. The next step is like the 100% rebreather, I think. That's like as much as you can go. And even with that mask, he was starting at 89%, which is not ideal. So he wasn't doing so well. And so on Saturday, they had prescribed him Lasix 40 IV times 1, and then they had started a regular of Lasix 20 BID. And he was on 3 antibiotics. He was on Vanco, Tazo, and Ancef. So, and he was also dysphagic, and he was MPO, and he was completely out of it, like not alert, like couldn't respond to commands, barely responsive to pain, like kind of like semi-comatose. And so he, in my whole shift, I had to give him 3 antibiotics and then the Lasix. So I get in at 8 o'clock, I hang my Vanco, I'm good, I'm on time. I come back at 10 o'clock, I hang my Lasix, I'm good. Around 11:30 is when shit started going down. He was starting to destat even with the RT treatments. And so they prescribed him an extra dose of Lasix, which I hadn't seen. So I ended up giving it at like 12:30. But I'll get to that after. And then, so at 11:30, they noticed his potassium was 2.8, so they wanted to replace his potassium. So we ended up giving 20 mEqs in a 100 ml bag, which, if you're counting, this is the third IV product I was giving. And we gave that, and then after that they wanted to give, we were kind of like not wrestling, but like dealing with 2 doctors, because we called the ICU doctor to see if we wanted to transfer him to ICU, but then he didn't want because he wasn't unstable enough, and he's like, well, just give him D5W with 40 mEqs, and we did not have that on our floor. I went to 2 other floors, they didn't have it either. I was like, I think I've encountered this problem before. this doesn't exist. Like D5 with 40, we don't have it in the hospital. So our charge nurse was like dealing with the ICU doctor, and then our medical doctor, and then calling pharmacy, and calling ICU, and like trying to figure this shit out. And then finally, she called the resident, and he told her. So basically, we took a bag of D5 with 20 mechs, and then we took a little bag, like the bag that I had given before, the 100 ml with 20 mechs, and we put the 100 in that, so it was a liter of D5 with 40 mechs. So we started that at 100 mLs an hour as his maintenance line. So that was I'm losing count, 1, 2, 3, 4th thing I was giving. But then at 12 o'clock, I had to give his Tazo, which I did. And then I walked back, literally about to go on break, and I see that they discontinued all his antibiotics and they prescribed him a new one. So I'm like, lovely. And that's when I went in. I was like, okay, well, that's when I saw that they prescribed him a Lasix 40x1. I'm sorry if this is very confusing. It was very confusing, let me tell you. So I go back into the room, discontinue his Tazo, hang the Lasix. So now he's getting the potassium in one arm and the Lasix in the other arm. And I just piggybacked everything because we have like these syringe drivers, but it takes so long. So I was like, hell no, I'll just piggyback it through the machine. Gave him that, and then at 2 o'clock I had to give him his new antibiotic. And by that time he was starting around 92, so he did improve a little bit with the Lasix, and he was putting out a lot of urine, which was good. Because he was septic, were giving him a lot of fluids, and because of his CHF, he overloaded, so he was having pulmonary edema, so he couldn't breathe, and that's why they were giving him Lasix to get all the fluid out, and he was super edematous. Anyway, when we had to do bloods on him to check his potassium, blah, 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 all that stuff. And so if we're counting, I think, so I gave 8 o'clock antibiotic, 10 o'clock Lasix, then we gave the potassium, then I gave the Tazo, I discontinued the Tazo, gave the other Lasix, started the other potassium, and then gave his antibiotic. So I gave 7 IV meds, and that's not even the most frustrating part. The most frustrating part is that for every medication, I had to restart the whole line. I piggybacked everything because not the Lasix, but like antibiotics and potassium and stuff, and they're like high risk and they're irritative. You always piggyback them. So if ever there's a reaction, you just stop whatever is going in and you start the main line. And so I don't know why. I don't know if it's like my inexperience or I was just stressed out of my mind. I don't know what it was, but with every medication, I had to start a whole new line. So a new bag of NS. I think some things I was giving D5, then NS, and then say his Tazo was with NS. No, his Tazo was with D5, I think. And then I had to give the Lasix, so I put that on the side, started the Lasix with the NS, but then I had to give the potassium, so I threw out the Lasix, threw out the Tazo. Like, for everyone, I had to restart a new line, and it was so frustrating. Oh my god, I did so many of those. So I literally spent my whole day just giving him IVs. That was exhausting. And then I had this other patient who had 2 nephrostomy tubes and a Foley. I had to monitor the output of all 3, and I had to change the dressings, I had to flush them, and then he kept wanting, he was constipated, so I gave him laxatives, gave him an enema, and then he wanted to get up to go to the bathroom because of the enema, and so with all the tubes, it was like carrying them and like turning them, and he was on oxygen, and he had an IV line, like NS running, so that was crazy as well. And just between 2 of them, they kept me so busy. I literally, I had 5 patients on Sunday because we were regular staffed, and I probably saw my other patients 3 times maybe to give them meds and do my assessments and check up on them once in a while. But those 2 kept me so busy, and just running back and forth with the new orders and then preparing the medications and then calling pharmacy because the medication wasn't there and then doing this and that. Oh my god, it was crazy, crazy, crazy. So yeah, and then charting. I did, I was at 9:30, I was done all my meds, all my assessments, all my vitals, and I started charting right then. So I had a 2-hour gap before things started going down and getting busy. So I did get to chart for a few of my patients before, which was really good because I hate block charting. And it's not good to do it anyways. But yes, so that is what my day yesterday was like. I got home and I was still stressed from my day, and I kept thinking, did I forget to do something or what? I don't know. And then I wanted to go to the gym, and I had to study because I have a physiology midterm on Thursday, final on Thursday that I've hardly studied for, and I couldn't, so I just stayed in bed and I went to bed at 8 o'clock. Thursday I had my physiology midterm, and I literally, guys, I have to study this whole entire book. for Thursday. I've already done like maybe this much because of the midterm, but then all of this I have to do, and I'm dead. But yeah, so that's it. I just really needed to vent because I was talking to my mom, but my mom doesn't really understand. Like, she just kind of listens because she doesn't know what the hell I'm telling her. She's like, oh, what's Lasix, you know? I talked to my friend, like, she was like texting, so it's not the same, and I just really need to vent to someone. And so I was like, well, I'll just vent to you guys because you guys can understand me and can relate and can share your experiences with me and just can listen to me. And yeah, so this is a very weird impromptu video, and I hope you all have enjoyed. Please, please, please let me know what your craziest work story is in the comments because I'm really interested to read those. I feel like that's really cool to see different people's experiences and stuff. Thank you for listening, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.